And we're back. All right, so we missed you guys last week. Did you miss us last week, or were you watching the Computex footage? The best Computex coverage since last year's Computex coverage we did. There's lots of rants today. You guys like rants? It's going to be like Rant 30 all freaking day. But first, let's start off with a little lighthearted thing. The system requirements for Hellblade. Looks like it's going to require GTX 770 or R9 280. Recommending an i5 or an AMD FX 8350, so it looks like it's going to require some power. And one of the reasons I'm even mentioning this game is because it's made by an indie studio, but their history is pretty big. Like Heavenly Sword and Devil May Cry, some of the members on those games are working on this one. You guys just have to see it. It features fully acted scenes where they have their actors, and you guys have seen this before where they do motion capture acting and all that kind of stuff. But this one they were really doing things in real time. So I just like a lot of their technology. I was thinking maybe we can get our hands on some of that stuff when we make our own game. A beer. I don't know if a beer is going to be good for my sniffles.
I got hot water cooking up.
Yeah, I'll just wait for the coffee. It's been a week. Did you guys miss him? Let's have a moment with Doug, shall we?
FDA regulations allow 10 insects and 35 fruit fly eggs per 8 ounces of raisins. They also allow 1 pound of peanut butter to contain 150 bug fragments and 5 rodent hairs.
I guess it's time to go have a peanut butter and raisin sandwich, eh? All right, anyway, let's move on and let's rant for a little bit. Who voted for all these Tories? No, so Theresa May called an emergency election over in the UK, and this is going to sound political, but it's not exactly political. She called an emergency election because she thought she could just completely pack Parliament with Tories, and then it kind of backfired on her, and she lost her majority. And now the hard Brexit that was on the table is no longer on the table. So that's the political side of all this thing. What I want to talk about here is who keeps putting all of these people in power that don't understand the internet. So I feel like every time anybody sneezes in the UK, Theresa May is like, oh, can we censor the internet yet? Is it time to censor the internet? Perhaps we need a whitelist. Oh, we need to lock down the internet. And I'm not really sure what the full agenda is here, but you've got Donald Trump with his big blowhard, my lips are all the way out here and my hair is like this, and pretty soon my bottom lip and my hair will just do the talking. I don't know, but you've got him talking about the terrorists, we've got to stop the internet, we need to censor the internet, we need to cut off the internet, we need a way to stop the internet, and you've got Theresa May echoing sort of the same thing over there. So who keeps voting for all the people that do not understand modern technology? It's not good for our future. We'll get into the whole Trump pulling out of the Paris Agreement here in just a minute, and you might be surprised about what I have to say about that. Yeah, there was a terrible attack, right? You guys in London, heart goes out to you guys. Really disgusting what happened over there, the terrorist attack. So that happens, and in the wake of the terrorist attack, Theresa May's like, that's it. The terrorists are using the internet. We have to stop the internet. We must censor the internet. So they're always looking for ways to squeeze and censor the internet. And also the stuff that's going on over there, I thought the NSA was bad. Some of the stuff that's going on over there is completely draconian. They don't want anything in UK to be beyond their reach. They want to make sure that they can read and see everything. They want to make sure that there are, quote, unquote, no digital communications that we cannot read. It's very important. It's imperative, in fact. So here's the problem with that thinking, Theresa May. If you have a backdoor into everything, those are very easy to exploit, especially when you take into account that most of the people that work for the agencies that run this thing are not as smart as many of the hackers who are living in basements or sometimes just coffee shops. Some of them have really nice jobs. So if you put the keys under the mat, they're going to be really easy to steal. So everything, as far as your infrastructure goes, and the internet and all that sort of thing, there's going to be backdoor. If there's backdoors to everything, well, really easy to hack, number one. That is going to severely damage your IT businesses in your country. Who's going to want to do business with anybody when they know that there's a backdoor and there's a possibility that things can be hacked? They're going to be like, nope, you know what? I'm taking my business to Switzerland or Norway or somewhere else. I don't know. Mongolia. I don't know what goes on in Mongolia. Estonia, probably. Going to Estonia right now. Run over there. And if it's full, we'll go to Lithuania. So that's what's going to happen. So that's really stupid. And the other thing is censoring the internet isn't going to do anything to the actual terrorists, because let's say you stop this one thing, well, they're going to go over here and do another thing. they're going to figure out a way, even if it's, tying a message to a pigeon's leg. They're going to figure out a way. You need to figure out more. You need to figure out something else. Whether it's hiring new cops is probably not the the answer. Maybe just I don't know. Try to figure out what's causing the blowback in the first place. Maybe education. I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. All I know is that what you're doing, censoring the internet, is mainly only going to impact your citizenry. It's going to invade their privacy, or privacy, should I say? And it's not going to be good for anybody. So, especially when I know who of my brethren in Scotland voted for the Tories. Come on. Saw the results. You guys. I'm giving you a lot of hell right now. And if anybody wants to know, everyone's like, oh, you're such a raging liberal. I hate your guts. I'm actually an independent. And I like to say that I'm an independent who thinks. So maybe that's why I just look at this stuff and why do they all want to censor the internet? It's not going to do anything good. Germany and Denmark and Belgium have pledged a 5-fold increase to the world's offshore wind capacity in a decade. And I want to talk to you just a second about Donald Trump and the whole, he pulled out of the Paris climate deal and everyone's freaking out about that. And yeah, the guy's a buffoon and the guy is sort of a climate change denier. And whether you believe in the, climate change being caused by humans or not, it's, who cares? I don't care what you believe. The scientific community says that yes, stuff is changing. And one of the things they always miss with all this stuff is the impact to the businesses. And right now you see Donald Trump pulls out because he's all yeah, we're going to get coal and oil because hell, I got the CEO of Exxon as my, Secretary of State here, so I got to be all coal and oil, right? So that's what you got with him, and that's one of the main reasons he pulled out. It's a business thing right here. He wants to support American businesses who support him. But then you got all the states and all that stuff because, solar's on the rise and just natural forms of energy are on the rise. Hydro and all that stuff, wind farms, whatever, they're all on the rise. So all the states who need this have all said, we are going to adhere to the Paris climate deals. And yeah, it'll be good for the world. It'll be good for everything like that. We're going to produce fewer emissions and that sort of thing. So that's good. But they're all going to go and do that because it's good for them financially. People have, they always say, we want to take care of the future. Nobody cares about the future. Businesses do not care about the future. They care about their bottom line right now for their shareholders, and that's the way it is all over the world. Here's the deal. If you really want to impact climate change, and if these countries really did care about climate change, you know what they'd be doing? They'd be going down to the Amazon and the Congo, and they would be saying, listen, if you cut down one more fucking tree, we're going to shoot you in the face. Because the trees are what absorb the carbon dioxide. The plankton that's now deteriorating. We used to have way more plankton than we do now. We're having massive plankton die-offs, but that stuff, used to absorb lots of CO2. Lots and lots and lots of it. We're destroying the stuff that absorbs the shit that we're making. And that's the real problem here. We're just completely ignoring huge parts of the world that are very forested. We're talking southern hemisphere places and that sort of thing that have huge, massive forests that are just getting destroyed. I mean, when's the last time you guys sat down and talked about that when it comes to climate change? You always talk about clean energy and good energy and all the business shit because that's what you're fed on the fucking news all the time. Nobody sits around and talks about all the trees. I'm a huge freaking tree hugger because trees what give us life. We breathe and exhale what they breathe, and they breathe and exhale what we breathe. It's wonderful. If they really cared, they'd basically be yelling and screaming about all the people who are cutting down trees in countries who really don't have any standards. They would be almost declaring war on them. That's what would really be happening if they truly cared. In Virginia Tech, they've actually made a huge breakthrough in synthetic photosynthesis. So here's something for you where we can get the businesses going and also take care of the problem I just laid out. Why not create synthetic photosynthesis? Now there'll be sort of light absorbing cells there, so you'll be able to get energy from that. And one of the pieces in photosynthesis is the absorption of carbon dioxide. So they could absorb carbon dioxide, and then they could release oxygen, and then they can harvest energy from this. Now, if they can figure this out completely, I mean, the big breakthrough right now is get it working and all that stuff. But imagine synthetic trees being our future because all the regular trees, they're gone. We don't need them anymore. And we're going to make a ton of money making these synthetic trees. Saves the environment, makes us a ton of money. Designer synthetic trees. RGB trees. Oh, man. Oh, God. Things just went south. Oh, no. Guys, the RGB lobby is out of control. We just got back from Computex, and let me tell you something. The RGB lobby, they are throwing money at almost every single one of these companies. It used to be that performance mattered. It used to be that when you go over there, they would talk about 5-10% in performance increase. We've decided, and even at the case manufacturers, be like, we've designed this case to be able to be 20% more efficient as far as the airflow goes. The air comes in here, goes out the back. The fans are actually more efficient. You still see companies like Noctua doing that, who have obviously not taken money from the RGB lobby. So, tinfoil hats off to Noctua for not taking money from the RGB lobby. But they have been looking at these hardware companies, and they've taken over, and they're getting the minds of the nerds now, while they're young. So when they grow up and have major jobs in major corporations, because nerds ultimately are going to end up controlling the world, the ones you picked on in, gym class are the ones who are now paying your paychecks. Am I right, guys? Now, when these guys get older, what are they going to be working on? Well, thanks to the RGB lobby, they're going to be making designer RGB LED synthetic photosynthesizing trees, man. They're going to be everywhere. They're going to deforest everything. Deforest them all, because our trees are more efficient, and at nighttime, you don't even need street lights. And on top of that, when you go into the forest, there is no more chance of, children being tortured and killed in the forests, because now the forests are completely illuminated, and we all know that where light is, evil is not.
Evil likes the darkness.
So USB chargers, that would be everywhere.
USB chargers on every tree stump, everywhere. Do you guys really want real trees, or do you want these fake RGB trees? The RGB lobby is real. You heard it here first. China's uncovered a massive underground network of Apple employees selling customers' personal data. This headline is slightly misleading, and it's sort of demonizing to Apple. I usually don't come to Apple's defense, but let's see what's going on here. So there's a bunch of people who work for a contracting company who works with Apple, and they have been taking private information, bundling it up, and selling it to the tune of $7.36 million. That's how much secondhand information is worth on the market. Wow. So they've obviously taken this information, packaged it up, and started selling it off, like personal data, marketing data, whatever. Guys, your data is worth so much money. Knowing what you do, where you go, how you eat, how you sleep, who you sleep with, worth so much money.
Like that MyLife.com company that reached out?
Oh, yeah, that MyLife.com company. Have we put that video on the air yet?
No.
Should we put it on the air right now?
We could.
You guys want to see, this is pretty much all I'm going to say about this, is these guys, it's fucked up and all that stuff, but these guys may not have all been Apple employees, and Apple usually is pretty good about privacy. Typically, better than most. They're more benevolent when it comes to this sort of thing. They're evil in the sense that they are evil, and they lock down all their platforms and take away your choice as a consumer, but they are pretty protective of their people, because that's where they make their money. They're doing it for business purposes, not because they care about you. So just remember that. 3D printed lunar bases. Maybe talk about that next time. It's kind of a fun thing to talk about space. But I do want to talk about this for just a minute. The first space-based nation, Asgardia. This is another one of those things with the headline. I mean, Asgard is like, what is it, the kingdom in the heavens or something like that? I don't know. But Asgardia is a funny name, sort of a play on that. Anyway, the space nation, they're going to be sort of a launch pad to mining missions, missions to space stations and that sort of thing. Sort of a launch pad up there. But right now, one of the interesting things about this, and one of the things that the headline talks about but barely talks about in the article, is they are going up there with some storage, just a little bit of storage, to take it up there and test and see how data does in outer space. Is it going to be okay to store data up there? The implication of which, since this is a space nation, if they launch from a nation that is not part of any of the space treaties, they will be outside of all international law. And then you'll have data floating up there, not in the cloud, but in Asgard. It's a cloud above the cloud, right? This is getting out there, like outer space out there. Oh, that was bad. So yeah, data storage off planet could be a thing pretty soon. And then it's the complete Wild West. We don't have a set of rules for that sort of thing. We don't know what's going on. So it's kind of cool that Asgardia is doing stuff like this, because now there'll have to be a set of rules, and hopefully they won't be made by Theresa May and Donald Trump or any other idiots who do not understand how the internet works. It's a series of tubes, right? Yeah. Lots of stuff to talk about this week amongst yourself. Let's lighten up and talk about some video games. Let's see what Justin's playing this week. All right, Justin, what are you playing?
I am playing Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap.
What is the secret of his power?
Seriously. So this is actually a remake of the Wonder Boy series that came out for the Sega Master System way back in the day.
Holy shit.
So this is a remake of the one that was Wonder Boy 3: The Dragon's Trap originally. And the neat thing that this company did is that they actually took the source code from the original game and they reverse engineered it, and then they put all new animations over it and everything, and did all this hand-drawn work and stuff like that. But because they reversed it from the source engineering, you can actually revert it back to the 8-bit, just like
what?
In the midst of playing this game. You can
so that's what the mouse looks like.
Yeah, this is what the game
now you're
originally
playing the Sega
looked
Master
like.
System.
Yep.
Whoa. Whoa. All right, play like that for a second, and then
This?
Yeah. I
So
Master System.
aside from these kind of things, they also did a lot of like standard of living upgrades to this game from its original. So you can actually change through the powers that you have instead of having to go into a select screen.
Oh, yeah.
And they also made it so that it's not just Wonder Boy. If you want, you can start the game as Wonder Girl, and it will actually change all the titles and everything to say Wonder Girl and stuff instead.
How modern.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. But the whole premise of the game is that you're fighting this dragon that's called the Mech Dragon, or the Tech Dragon, or it's the Mech Dragon. And every time you fight a dragon, they put a curse on you, and they change you into a different form or a different creature. Each different creature can interact with the landscape differently, and it's a kind of Troidsylvania run around, get to new spots now that you have new powers and power-ups like that. But
Wow.
yeah,
Dude, the difference is like...
it's so...
Wow, the hand-drawn looks really nice.
I've already played as the dragon, but they advertise that there's like 5 or 6 different forms. It's 6 if you include the original form. Oh my god, come on. Finally.
All right, now what are you going to get turned into?
So then this happens, and now I'm a fishman!
What's he look like, I wonder?
Oh wow, this makes so much sense. So the neat thing about this is that a lot of it's trial and error too. Like you start the game and it's not just like go to the left, go to the right. You go to the left and you'll get a little noise. It's like nope, wrong way, and so you have to kind of make a map in your head as you play too, which is kind of fun. Those of you that like the nostalgia kick, maybe if you played the original Wonder Boy series and are wanting to come back to it, it's definitely good. But on top of it, it's just a solid platformer, Troidsylvania kind of. I don't know. If you're just looking for a good game that's not gonna make you feel like you're playing Dark Souls every 3 seconds.
Dude, Troidsylvania is like really...
It's gotten kind of
everywhere.
A big comeback these past... Like this, it's been like the game style of the year. I'll show you like the new shop interface versus the old shop interface. So this is new shop interface.
Yeah.
This is what it used to look like.
Whoa.
Yep.
He's got a cigarette.
Shopping, please.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Most people could enjoy this game unless you hate, fun and cute animation and enjoyable things.
Well, the ending salutation has come. Do you guys have a t-shirt yet? You don't understand how soft these are. You don't understand. So a portion of the proceeds from these t-shirts is also going towards the creation of some future hardware for you guys that I think you'll like. Testing out some stuff here. I love the way this one feels. It feels so good, this mouse. And you got these coming into the store within the next week because you guys requested them. Pocket multi-tools. There it is. Bottle opener, box opener, metric ruler. Well, we got centimeters, up to 5 centimeters. And then also on the other side, we got the inches here. Screwdriver, different size bolts and whatever. All kinds of stuff. Even a cell phone stand. And there's one of these on the market already. I've seen them out there. This cell phone stand is actually straight instead of the curvy thing, so it won't damage your cards like the other one will. Can opener and eye gouger as well. Eye gouger, eyeglass screwdriver, and let's see here, murder weapon. Not to be used as a murder weapon.
Anything's a murder weapon if you check right.
Yes, everything will be a murder weapon. It's going to be blurry. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Don't go anywhere.